Oh, as everybody knows, I'm Josh. I am the founder of Tales from a Ghost Hunter. I have been a ghost hunter for about 11 years. I do podcasts, some interviews on here, a lot of TikToks. I'm working on a whole cryptid series every Saturday. And it looks like I might be having someone that'll be there doing that with me. Tuesdays we do everything kind of paranormal, more ghostly. So, and today we have our special guest. So, why don't you kind of tell everybody a little bit about you and what you guys do?
I'm Nick. I am one half of This Haunted Life. The other half is my husband. He's in bed right now. It's a little late. It's late for him. He gets up at 5 in the morning, so it's midnight here. So we have a paranormal investigation team, just the two of us. We've been part of other like bigger teams before, but we like it just the two of us a little better. He's done it for about a little over 10 years now, but paranormal has really been pretty much my whole entire life. I've never not had, most people, it's something that they ponder. Is it something they're interested in it? Is it something that's real? For me, I've never had I don't know. For me, it's just always been part of my life. When I was little, I was always able to I could see spirits like they were real people. And I would tell my mom about it, and she would get mad at me and call them my imaginary friends. And, oh, don't tell people. They'll think bad stuff about you and blah, blah, blah. So I was never really allowed to talk about it growing up. But yeah, so paranormal's pretty much been our whole entire life.
All right. Wow. I know we kind of talked about a little bit back and forth before all of this. And obviously your husband kind of came onto this as like a co-conspirator as you kind of started going on this journey.
Right.
What got him drived into it? Like what really solidified this for him?
So I think for him, it wasn't that he didn't believe, it was that he never gave it a second thought until he was with me. Wherever I'm at, stuff happens. I don't know how many places I've ever lived at, but surely all of the places I've lived at can't be haunted. I do have abilities, so everywhere that I'm at, I'm like a magnet for spirits, I guess. But he started noticing, I never told him that I had abilities until after we were married, because I was like, man, he's gonna think I'm crazy. But he started noticing things happen. So I finally started telling him little by little, and he was like, yeah, I started noticing things happen, and I never really thought about this before. He always knew that I was into the paranormal. We actually got married on Friday the 13th, and we went to a haunted restaurant to eat afterwards, and we stayed at a haunted inn. So he knew I was really into the paranormal, and he was cool with it, and he was, down for doing whatever. But he really started noticing things happening when we got married, and he was just couldn't deny it anymore. He's a staunch believer now. He loves going everywhere and doing all this stuff.
That's really cool. I know I have a very similar situation where my girlfriend has gotten a lot more involved in this because of me. And I was able to take her on her first investigation, so that was really cool to be able to do that. You guys are fairly active.
We are,
in the paranormal. Yeah, you guys go to a lot of places. You've seen quite a lot of posts just this week alone. What are some of the favorite places you've been?
In Georgia or just overall?
Overall.
My very favorite place, I have to say, is the Ohio State Reformatory. We're originally from Ohio. We live in Georgia now, but we've only been down here for about 4 years. We love Savannah. That's the reason we moved down here. We've been coming down here for, I don't know, maybe 4 times a year for 10 years. So we decided we're just going to move down there rather than keep going down there. But I have to say Ohio State Reformatory is probably both of our favorite places. It's actually the place that we probably had the least amount of equipment that we took with us. And there was so much stuff that I mean, it was insanely active. Just up in the tuberculosis ward alone, I mean, we had hours and hours and hours of activity. And I can't imagine what it would be like if we want to go back, like with all of our equipment and take some more people with us. I can't imagine how much stuff we would get if we went back there with all of our equipment. It wasn't originally like this horrible prison. It originally was built as a reformatory. So people that went in there, they didn't commit like these horrible crimes. They were just normal people that, made some bad choices. They would go in there, they would normally get like a 4-year sentence. While they were in the reformatory, they would receive a job, they would get paid for their job, minimal, but they would get an education, they would learn a trade, and at the end of that 4-year sentence, if they were ready to be put back in society, they would, help them get a job, get them, move them on. If they weren't, then they would get like another year tacked on until they were ready. And it was a really, really successful program. It didn't start getting bad until the later years when the Ohio State Penitentiary in Columbus began to be like overcrowded. They started sending like their hardened criminals there. That's when it started getting really bad and the conditions worsened. And so a lot of the spirits that are there, they're not like these horrible, horrible inmates that died there of, you know what I mean? It's not like a lot of the people that were there are like, when we were in like the chapel part of it, we were getting people coming through like saying, I was wrongly accused. Like, of course prisoners are going to say that, but it was like they were coming through trying to tell their story, and you could tell that they really were just normal people that had made bad decisions. Or, you had all the people up in the tuberculosis ward. There was one that told us that he died there, and he was talking about the nurses and how kind they were to him. So it's not like all terrible like most people think prisons are. I love going there. I can't wait to go back there.
I believe we had a question. What part of Ohio were you originally from?
Oh. Okay, so the Columbus area. I was from like the Dublin Hilliard area. My husband was from Delaware. I didn't even see that down. I wasn't looking. And I don't have my glasses on, so. Yeah, so Central Ohio. But we have all of both of our families still live in Ohio. So we've got family in Springfield. We've got family in Delaware, family in the Dayton area, family up by Toledo, family in Columbus, Hilliard, Dublin, just about everywhere. Got them all.
Gotcha.
Oh, Youngstown.
Well, we
okay.
have Stories in the Cemetery. Yeah, he's from Youngstown. So that's also Nick.
Yep. Oh, yay. Oh, yay. Yay, next.
Yeah, he runs
we love going to Ohio. What's that?
He runs a paranormal tour company in South Carolina.
Oh, awesome. Well, South Carolina's like less than an hour from me. So
there you go. You ever want to go down there? He does it year round. He does it as his full-time job. So
cool.
Yeah, Nick and I have been working together on quite a lot of stuff. He's actually got the first paranormal almanac coming out next year.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I repost his stuff all the time. I didn't realize that was the same person. Okay.
Yeah, that's Nick. So I was.
Hey, Nick, I repost your stuff all the time.
I
didn't know you were from
enough to be
Ohio.
one of the writers on his almanac.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, when you guys started, did you have equipment, or were you kind of just running on how you were feeling in locations? Like, what did that build up look like for you guys?
Well, for him, it's a lot different than it is for me. So there's lots of different kinds of abilities, right? You have people who just have something for anywhere from like deja vu or, precognition, like maybe a precognitive dream here or there. You have people who are empaths, and there are several different kinds of empaths. The main kinds of empaths are like intuitive, physical, and emotional empaths. So an emotional empath is going to feel the feelings that, like the emotions that somebody else is feeling. The physical empath is going to feel physical feelings like pain, that somebody else might be feeling. An intuitive empath is, I don't know the best way to describe this. I guess the best way to describe it is like you would be able to sit in a room with somebody, and even if they didn't speak to you, you would know, you would have their number. Just like you would know if they were full of shit, you would know if they were a good person. That's an intuitive empath. Okay. Then there's like all the clairs. There's the 5 clairs. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like clairaudience, claircognizance.
Yeah, I've heard quite a few of them.
So I have all of those things.
Okay.
So for me, it's a lot different than it is for him. I can go into a place and I might hear something physically. I might feel something touch me. I might smell something. I might have visions. I might just know something intuitively. I might be feeling something emotionally or physically. You know what I mean? But for him, he doesn't have any of those things. Like literally, he's like, nothing ever happens to him. I feel so bad. I'm like, you don't feel that? So he really does rely heavily on equipment. But when we first started out, we just had, like a digital voice recorder and a camera and a K2 meter, So, but even those are very useful tools, especially a digital voice recorder. I think he had a lot of stuff happen to him before we moved here, but like the house that we live in right now, it's not even 20 years old, but it's extremely freaking active. So if he didn't believe before now, or if he was unsure of anything, this house has completely done it for him. I actually have equipment set up in my house right now, waiting to see if any of it goes off while we're live. But this is usually the time that they're quiet, believe it or not. They're really active during the day.
Interesting. So for those that are on, can you go through all of the Claire, all the different ones and what they are?
Sure. So there are 5 different clairs. Clair just means like their senses, right? So you have clairvoyance, which is the one that most people have heard of before, right? So clairvoyance would be clear seeing. You have images in your head, like you see images in your mind's eye or your third eye. So the best way I can describe that is, you know how if you're daydreaming and you're kind of like off in your own thoughts and you can see a clear picture in your head, or if you're reading and you see what you're reading in your head, that's kind of your mind's eye or your third eye, right? So that would be clear seeing when you see a picture or an image in your mind's eye. We've got clairaudience, that's clear hearing. So you might hear a message in your ear. You physically hear words in your, you hear them. There's clairsentience, which is clear feeling. And it might not be one that people are familiar with, but it's the one that most people have. So clear feeling would be like any sort of sensation that your body has that is reacting to the situation you're in. So if you get goosebumps, or if you have the hair stand up on the back of your neck and it's like something's behind you, or if you have a gut feeling, that's what that is. That's the one that most people don't know what it is, but that's what it's called. Claircognizance is clear knowing. So this one is not real common, but it's when, I'm trying to figure out how to describe this. It's when you just know something. You don't have a reason for knowing it. It's literally, you know it, and it is 100% fact, but nobody's ever told you. You've never seen it. You've never read it. You've never heard it. Like, you just know for a fact that it is. And then there is, what's the other one? Clairalience. Clairalience is clear smelling. So you might be wondering what somebody's favorite flower is and you smell rose. That one is the least common. But those are the 5 major clairs.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Now, I'm assuming as you guys kind of went on, your husband, was he the one that kind of pushed for like more equipment so that he could kind of share in the experiences that you were having?
Not necessarily. I actually build equipment, so I'm really interested in, I build my own equipment. So I'm really interested. I'll buy equipment and I'll reverse engineer it and then watch a whole bunch of videos and then kind of put the technology from what I've learned from the videos and what I've, reverse engineered and kind of make stuff. So I don't know that he's happy with the equipment, but I like the toys. I don't need them as much as he does, but I really, I feel like the more things you have to back up what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're feeling, the more things that you can record and get data for, the easier it is for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can share that and get it out there. The easier it is for, so many people, they're just, I guess some people though, it doesn't matter whatever you tell them, whatever you show them, until it happens to them. I guess they're not going to believe anyway. So
true. Yeah, the don't believe it till I see it kind of type.
Data. That's where I'm at. Data. That's kind of where I'm at with. I know what I'm seeing and feeling, but I can't. That's not going to tell somebody else. So that's where I'm at with the equipment. It's data to back it up.
I hear you. Now, what does your arsenal look like? Because I'm interested in what you have because you're building your own equipment at the same time. So, right.
So, we pretty much have. So I have a website. I don't have everything on my website. It's thishauntedlife.com. I don't have it. I do have an equipment section on there. It's definitely not all the equipment that we have, but it's all the major equipment that we have. We have all of the, the REM pods and the K2 meters and the digital voice recorders, the full spectrum cameras, the music box. What else do we have? Night vision goggles, flux meter. Most of we have everything pretty much. We've got we just got the, what is it called? My brain's stopped working. The Tracer 2 light wire. So,
did you really?
Yeah. And that one's really cool because it actually has temperature on it too. So it doesn't just trace the footsteps. It'll turn blue if the temperature drops and purple if the temperature raises. And we actually just were in Ohio last month and used it at the Buxton Inn. So the room that we stayed in at the Buxton Inn, it was Miss Bonnie's room. She was one of the former owners, and she had a cat that she named Major Buxton after the namesake of the hotel. So she named her cat after the original namesake of the hotel. And her cat are said to haunt the rooms that we stayed in. So what I did was I took the tracer light wire and I put it on the bed with a whole bunch of catnip. And wouldn't you know, the whole freaking night we kept getting little paw prints on the bed and the light wire lighting up where it was only in spots that we put the catnip at. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
And she was a performer with the Manhattan Light Opera Company. So she loved performing. She loved playing music on the piano for her guests when they stayed at the inn and stuff like that. So I brought out the music box for that. And I put it in the window. And I slept, there were two rooms and the beds weren't really big. So I slept in one room. My husband slept in the other room. I slept in the room that she died in. And I swear to you, that whole entire night, I would sit there and talk to her. And the second I would stop talking and start nodding off, that damn music box would go off and wake me up. It went off I have a video on here of that actually, because it kept going off all night. The second I would shut up, it would go, or if I asked her to make it go off, it would go. And before we did the investigation, she's buried like down the street at the cemetery. And we went to the cemetery and I took the music box there too. And she kept playing the music box over and over and over when I would put it on her gravestone. So that was pretty cool.
That's amazing. What pieces of equipment have you built?
Oh, just things like REM pods, REM bears, SLS camera. I have, what do you call it? Taken cameras and flipped them into full spectrum. What else? I built a whole bunch of stuff. I can't even, my brain's not even working right now. I'm working on something that's kind of like a light wire, tripwire. I'm working on something like that right now. I've done the sensory goggles, like the Delco goggles. I've made some of those myself. Yeah, they're actually like less than $15 to make. I swear to God, they're so easy to make, and they work. The ones I made work so freaking good. No, nothing revolutionary, not yet. Not that good.
Nick would be very interested in your making of the Delco goggles. He was looking at them, and
I actually went through like 6 different versions until I found one, but they're all really cheap to make. Like I literally made it out of like the cheapest pair of welding goggles and some like LED like light wire that and some red Dixie plates. It was literally the easiest thing I ever made in my whole life. See, your app has it.
All the same stuff, but yeah, it's exactly what you sent Nick. We were talking about it on a live, and we were giving him a lot of shit because we're like, you want $200 goggles. Like, this is what you want, $200 goggles.
Mm-hmm. That's the reason I learned how to make them. I was like, there's no way that costs $200 to make. There's just no way. Literally, I think the most expensive pair that I made cost me $12 total with the batteries. Yeah, so maybe I'll make a video on how to make it. It's just, it's really like the easiest. It takes a lot of like, I don't know, like it's tedious at times, but I'm okay with that. After you do it a couple times, it goes a little faster. Okay. Sear has a game felt effect. Yes.
Yeah, that's the ghost tube.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I actually use their SLS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've used that one too. The only thing, I like the Ghost Tube app, but I feel like I like all the Ghost Tube apps. I feel like they're sort of limited though. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
The regular Ghost Tube only has so many words. Vox is cool, but the like the SLS, you have to be like, you have to really know what's a false positive. Like you have to be really aware of what is, because it picks up a lot of things that it shouldn't. Like well, I don't even want to say that because I don't want to offend anybody. So I'm gonna skip that part.
I turn the sensitivity on it all the way down.
Mm-hmm, that's what I do too.
If it goes off, yeah, like if it goes off for a good reason.
Right. But a lot of people don't
actually
do that.
Yeah, I know. They leave it at like the highest sensitivity, every tree, pole, door handle, door hinge.
Every single tombstone. And I want to tell them, like, please just turn the sensitivity down. But I'm not saying they don't have good apps, because I really do think they do. They have good apps, you know. And especially, like, if you don't want to, like, I made my SLS, but it's kind of a lot to carry around. So it's kind of easy just to pull out your phone and use the Ghost Tube SLS app.
Yeah. And something Stories in the Cemetery taught me is the Apple products have the LiDAR, and that helps a lot if you use it along with one of those. Mm-hmm. So even if I'm not a big Apple person.
I am not either. I literally own one piece of Apple equipment, and it's an iPad, and it's because I own my own business, so I use it as like my cash register. But I also use it as like my ghost hunting equipment sometimes. But you can't get as many of the good apps on the Apple products as you can the Android. I've noticed
True.
that. I've noticed that there's a lot of things that I really want to put on there so I can use it as just, a ghost hunting tablet, but you can't get it on there because it's an Apple product. So, and no disrespect, it's just personal preference. I don't think that one's better than the other. It's just personal preference, really.
No, I hear you. So, what was your first paranormal experience?
Oh gosh. That's a hard question to answer because I don't ever remember not having paranormal experiences. So my mom will show me a picture of something and it'll be from a time before I could even walk. And I can tell her a memory attached to that picture. And I can tell her that there's a man sitting in the room with her named Frank, and she doesn't believe me. So Frank, she used to say was my imaginary friend, and it's not. Frank is not my imaginary friend. I actually found out a year ago that Frank, who I saw my whole entire life growing up, is my 3 times great grandfather.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was going through a genealogy book a little less than a year ago, and actually I have a picture of him. Hang on, I'll get it. Oh, sorry. So a little less than a year ago, I was going through my genealogy on my mom's side, and I found this picture. It's this one right here. I'll hold it up in a second. And I was looking at it, and it's really hard to see the people in it, but I was struck by one of the people that I saw in it. It just gave me goosebumps, and I turned white because I was like, holy crap, that looks like Frank. And so I kept looking and looking, and I took a picture of the picture and blew it up. And I was like, holy crap, that is Frank. That's Frank that used to visit me all the time when I was a little kid, and I would tell my mom about it. So I'm flipping through the paperwork trying to find out more information about this picture. Sure as shit, this guy's name is Frank, and he's my 3 times great grandfather.
How interesting.
Yeah, so here, I'll put my finger on him. He's this guy right here with the little bow tie.
Okay.
That's Frank. He's my 3 times great grandfather, and he used to come sit with me and talk to me every night. There was a time, though, I used to see him look like this when I was talking to him during the day, but at nighttime, there was this thing that would sit in my doorway, and I really don't know how to describe him. I thought of him as a male figure. It was probably like child size in height, like maybe the height of like a skinny, bony first grader. And it was bald, and it had dark skin, and it had red eyes, but not like cartoonish red eyes, like not glowing or anything, but you could tell it had red eyes. And it would crouch in my doorway, and it looked kind of like a gargoyle, and it scared the crap out of me. And I would get scared. Like, I wouldn't even leave my room to pee at night because I was so terrified of this thing. But a guy would come in my room, and he would stand at the foot of my bed, and he would protect me. And as long as he was there, that gargoyle thing would like go away. I didn't put it together until I was older that it was Frank, because he showed himself looking different. He had all the same features, but he was a little bit older when he would come in my room at night. And he was a little bit like make himself bigger in stature, and he was wearing different clothing. So I didn't put 2 and 2 together when I was little, but when I got older, I realized that it was Frank. He just looked different. But it wasn't until a year ago that I realized that Frank was my grandpa.
Huh.
So pretty much always have had, I mean, when my mom would show me the pictures, I remember being little and her taking a picture of me and Frank being in the room. So that's probably my earliest experiences.
That brings up some other interesting questions. And so besides that, have you had any other like experiences with something that was more dark or something that was very, very different. Like, what kind of entities, the spectrum of what have you kind of encountered?
So yeah, I have. The only other thing that I have actually, there's only two things I've ever been scared of ever in my whole life. The first one was, I call them the gargoyle thing, because I don't know what else to call them. I've never in my life seen anything ever like that ever since then. And actually it's weird because the house that I lived in, when I saw that thing, when we moved out of that house, so the house that we lived in, my parents were both in college, and my grandparents bought the house for my parents. So they lived next door, and my great grandparents lived next door to them. So when my parents were out of college and they built their own house and we moved to like the Hilliard, Dublin area from Columbus, my aunt and uncle moved into the house that we lived in. So I still had to go back to that house after we moved out. And I would still see that thing if I had to spend the night. And I would find every reason not to spend the night there. I would always be like, no, I'm going to go down the street and spend the night at Graham's house or something like that. But the very last time I saw this thing at their house, it's so weird, and I will never ever forget it, is, so my dad adopted me. My stepdad adopted me. My mom had me, with somebody else, and then she divorced him, and I had a stepdad that adopted me. So that was like when I was 6, right before I turned 10, about a week before my 10th birthday. I spent the night at my cousin's house, and I saw that thing again. And I came back home on a Sunday night, like after dinner or whatever, and the next morning they told me that my dad died. I never saw that thing again after then. I never have seen, I was in that house for 10, 15 years after that happened, and I never once saw that thing again after after that night. So I don't know if it has something to do with my dad dying or not, but I don't know. The only other scary thing that I've ever encountered is actually in this house. And I'm not sure where it came from, but the area that I live in is super historic. Like, we have Fort King George down the road, and that's was built as the part of the British Empire. It was like one of the first forts on the Georgia coast. It was like the first line of defense from attack from the south, to defend against like Savannah and all that. It was built in 1722. By like Scottish soldiers under British rule. Anyway, I digress. We live in a really historic area. The neighborhood that I actually live in it's been native tribal land, but it was also been through revolutionary times. It's been through Civil War times. If you dig in any of the backyards of my neighborhood here, you will literally find something from the Revolution and something from the Civil War. Every single person in my neighborhood has. We found buttons, glass, everything.
Wow.
It has also been it was the first rum distillery in all of Georgia, was my neighborhood. So this man named William Carnacan, he was born in Scotland in the 1770s, and around the early 1800s, he was an overseer at a plantation in Jamaica that was a rum distillery and sugar mill. And around like 1812, he sailed to Savannah, and he noted like how high the tariffs were on the sugarcane and rum coming in, and he thought, well, what if I just build a rum distillery here? So like my neighborhood, that's where he did it. There was a plantation here, and he built it in 1816, and it was run completely by slaves. But in like I think it was 1824, 1827, I can't remember which one, it was devastated by a hurricane. It was just completely wiped out. And he died about a year later, but the remnants of the slave cabins, I can't even talk, are literally at the end of my street. So we still have slave cabins down there. Like, it's native land. It's been through wars. We have all kinds of stuff going on in this neighborhood. So I don't know where this entity came from, but my dogs started getting upset in my house, and they started noticing things. They started barking at things. They started being scared of things, and they're not usually scared of things. And they would not go in my bathroom. Neither of them would go in my bathroom. And then I started going in my bathroom, and I would get really freaked out. I don't get freaked out about anything. Not anything paranormal. I don't usually ever get freaked out about. But I started getting really uncomfortable. And then I started having these horrible nightmares. For like 2 nights straight, I had these horrible nightmares. There would be like something trying to kill me in every single one. And it was always like they were trying to like suffocate me somehow or drown me somehow. And like one of my biggest fears is like not being able to breathe. I have COPD. So one of my biggest like things is like when I can't breathe, it freaks me out a lot. And I was having this dream one night. I was in this, like, I don't know why I was on this property, but I was on this property with people that I've never seen before in my life, in real life. Didn't recognize them. Apparently in my dream, I knew them though. I was at this mansion, and like, you go into the back of this mansion, and there's like this, I don't know, glass covered pool. And for whatever reason, I got in the pool, and this thing just came out of nowhere. It had like this no face at all. It was just a black face with a hood and a cape, and it just started trying to drown me. And I woke up, and I couldn't breathe. I kept trying to hit my husband to wake him up, but he's like a really sound sleeper, and I couldn't like catch my breath at all. And I could see this thing. It was like its hands were through my chest pushing on my lungs, and it all of a sudden like moved its head like it was looking at my face and realized that I was awake and could see it, and it just disappeared. And I did all kinds of shit in my house to clear the next day, and did like a protection ring around my property, and it hasn't been back. But those are literally the only 2 things in my life. That was a really long explanation for that. I'm sorry.
No worries. That's fascinating.
Those are literally the only 2 things in my life that have really been super scary that I've come up against. Was the one thing in my house, and then the other thing in my bedroom door.
Wow. I know you mentioned you did a bunch of things to make sure that, that kind of cleared the space. Most people that have some kind of ability seem to have in hand, like almost hand in hand, an ability to do something to, kind of clear a space. So what other things are you capable of besides the clairvoyance and all the clairs?
I do a lot of things mentally, like putting like white light bubbles around me, and calling in my guides and my guardians to help protect me and to help protect. So I'm also Wiccan. I'm not Christian, I'm Wiccan. So my beliefs differ a little bit than other people's. I do use, I have bells on all my doors. It breaks up the energy. I have crystals all over. I do a lot of stuff with crystals and crystal grids. If you use a pure tone chime, that sort of purifies the energy. I'll do like black salt rings around my house, saging, Palo Santo to bring in kind of good energy, different things like that, invoking different spirits to help.
Okay. Sorry, I'm doing the best I can to keep
you're
this.
Fine. You're fine. I'm used to Next I'm used to Next about 2 hours ago, so.
I'm allergic to, forget what it is, the main ingredient in Tylenol.
Oh, no.
So I can't take most of anything. Because almost all cold medicines have that ingredient.
Right. Man, that sucks.
Yes, good point, Nick.
Yes, my website is www.thishauntedlife.com.
Awesome. And do you guys have you have your website? Do you have a YouTube?
Yep,
obviously you're on
This
TikTok.
Haunted Life. Yep, so I'm at This Haunted Life on Instagram, at This Haunted Life on YouTube, www.thishauntedlife.com is my website. TikTok, I am this.haunted.life, just because somebody else had it without the dots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a Facebook page, but that's mainly because I had a Facebook page with, I founded another group before this, but that's a whole nother story. But I had a Facebook page with that, and people don't really respond to. I put so much work into going through the evidence and editing and creating content out of it. And then when you put it on Facebook, no one wants to look at it on Facebook. Absolutely no one. I swear they want like memes, GIFs, funny short reels, and pictures, and that's it. So when we started This Haunted Life, actually we started This Haunted Life a long time ago because it was just like something that was for me and him. You know, aside from the other groups that we were in, but I never started a page on Facebook for it. So we are on everything else, though.
Gotcha. And I very much share your sentiment. I can't get any following on the Facebook business page. My personal Facebook that I opened literally just to have the other page has like 1,500 people that friended it, and most of them I'm pretty sure are bots. And it's annoying as all hell.
So I do post stuff on my personal page. So I'm Nick Hobbler on Facebook. I do post stuff on my personal page on Facebook, but that's mainly because all of our family live in Ohio, and they always ask us about, like, whenever we go to Ohio, they want to go do the paranormal stuff with us. So they always want to see our paranormal stuff. And I'm like, I'm on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, but some of them they're a little bit older, so they don't, you know. So I use Facebook. I don't post a lot on Facebook, but I do put some of our paranormal stuff on Facebook.
I hear you. I actually have my TikTok linked to the Facebook so that it just posts everything I post.
I did that with the other page that I had for the other paranormal team. I did that too. Yeah, so whenever I posted something on one, it went to all of them. I didn't even post it on one. I scheduled it from my website, and from my website, it just posted automatically on all of the different social forums. Yeah. But I do have a lot of stuff on our website. We do have a lot of stuff. I usually put like our schedule for all the different things that we go to, all of our different investigations that we're going to for the year. I have like a countdown. It'll be like to our next investigation, and then I'll put like a picture and a little bio history of like the next place we're going to. And then I make a blog for those places, all the places that we've gone to. There's pictures for every place that we've gone to. I have tabs for evidence that we've captured. So video, picture, audio. I have a tab that has pictures and explanation of what equipment is, because some people don't understand what some of the equipment is or what it does. They might have seen it, but they don't understand how it works. So I put like little say what it is and put description about how it works. And I've got links to where you can get different equipment. There's my email, my links to all the social media. There's my phone number, and we go into like personal residence and businesses too, and help people out there as well.
I'm very much a lot like you. I had a group I founded prior, and it just got to a point where I was doing all the work.
That's exactly,
and everybody else was.
What happened. There's nothing against any of them. I was in another group prior to that. We all were in a pretty big group. I won't name the name, but it's a pretty big group, prominent group in Savannah. We were all in that, and I didn't agree with the way that it was ran, and so neither did some of the other people. So I asked somebody else to co-found a group with me. I did not realize the level of commitment was so different with the other members than it was with my husband and myself. We ended up putting in 90% of the finances and 99% of the work. So it got to a point where we just stepped away. I have nothing against any of them. I wish them all well. Hopefully they're, we're just in different spots in our journey. So.
Yeah. I hear you. And honestly, it's funny because I find a lot of the people that are really getting into this and making this more of like their life goal and their actual jobs. Right. We all tend to work alone or with a spouse.
Yep. Well, we love the thing that I absolutely love. I love working with other couples, groups that have the same goal as I do. I'm all about, I don't think there should be any competition at all. There's like, we're all in it for the same reason. I am completely like, people say para-unity and some of them really aren't. I really am 100%. I will do anything I can to help out anybody else in this community. 100% I will. I will always repost other people's stuff, do whatever, seriously, whatever. We love going with other groups. And pretty much that's the entire time that we ran that other group. It was pretty much me and my husband going with other people that weren't our group. That's why we left. And that's what we do. Like we've already been on, I don't even know how many with other groups this year. We've got another one scheduled, next month in Mississippi with another group. We have another one scheduled. Everything pretty much this year is scheduled with another group that we've met on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. So
that's awesome. Shout
out to Mary and Josh at Unknown Project. Everybody look them up if you haven't already. They're awesome.
I think I've seen quite a few things actually that you've reposted for them.
Yeah. We're really good friends with them. We love them. We're so upset. We were supposed to do one of my biggest places that I wanted to go to, like even before people ever knew it was like a big thing, was Lake Shawnee, the abandoned amusement park in West Virginia.
Oh.
I wanted to go there for so freaking long. So, with the original team that I was with before I created my own, we had it scheduled to go, and something happened with them in the group that I was in, and they were going to have to reschedule, and I ended up leaving the team. So I was like, oh man, I'm not going to get to go to Lake Shawnee. Well, I was talking to Mary and Josh from the Unknown Project, and they're like, oh, well, we scheduled a trip there and we need people to go with us. And I was like, sweet, I'm in. So we were all going to go. We were supposed to go actually in about 2 weeks from now. And I was talking to Mary the other day, and she was like, so upset. She hadn't slept all night, and she said the people from Lake Shawnee, they will, when you book online, they'll just take money from as many people as they can to like pay. The guy literally told her this on the phone. We'll take money from whoever they can to pay the bills, and they double booked us for a private event. So our option was get our money back or go to this private overnight event with people that we've never met before, which I'm normally fine with. However, the owners, they leave. They don't stay there at night at all. And you're camping there in a tent. There's only one spot where there's like light and places to plug stuff in. So now we're going to have to fight over like who gets to plug what in. And I have lots of like well over $10,000 in equipment. I'm not like leaving that out. I love people, but I'm not that trusting. So we opted for our money back. So hopefully Lake Shawnee is in the works for next year.
Well, that's a really cool place. I've actually seen that. And that's definitely one of the places on my list. I've got a lot of places on the list.
Oh, me too. Oh my gosh.
And next year, I'm hoping is more of my getting out and about and really doing a lot more events and investigations. Mm-hmm. So,
well, if you ever want to investigate with us, we're here. We travel all over. We haven't been the farthest we've been so far, though. I have to say is Missouri. So we've been to lots and lots of states, but we haven't been further west than Missouri yet. We'll get there.
I hear you. I've done some really cool stuff. I've been in Arizona quite a few times.
Oh,
we did Gila County Jail, and this year we did Vulture City Ghost Town.
Oh, that would be so. I know what you're talking about. That's so cool. Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah, the town was so big. It was too big to get everything done, and I wish we'd had more time.
Whole weekend.
It's a whole town.
You're right.
I
know.
You get 4 hours, and we were able to squeeze out a little bit more time because we were able to show up, set up, and start going. And it just still was too many buildings, too many places, not enough equipment. Like I just didn't have enough cameras to slide around everything.
I feel like there's so many locations like that. Like you just don't get enough time. Like the Ohio State Reformatory, that's only one building, but it's 250,000 square feet. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's not 8 hours is not enough time for real.
No, I hear you. Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking around to see if there's some cool places to hit. I'm in California, so it's a little harder to figure things out here because everybody wants like $1,000 or more.
Oh yeah,
but I'm definitely looking into figuring some stuff out. So
everybody wants to go to like the big places like Tala and Waverly Hills and OSR, and we just went to the Missouri State Penitentiary and. Well, I'm definitely going back there. That place is awesome. And all those big places are cool, but I think some of the smaller places are really underrated. Like some of the smaller places are some of the most active places that I've ever been. There's this jail. It's called the Old Bleckley County Jail. It's in Cochran, Georgia. That place has insane activity every single time we go there. The last time I was there, it shut down my live. Like, It just shut my live. Not only did it shut down my live, I was not able to use my phone until we left the property the next day. My phone was not, I couldn't use it for anything. It would allow me to take a picture, but that was it. Like, I couldn't use any apps on my phone. I couldn't make any phone calls on my phone. I couldn't text on my phone. I couldn't even look at the pictures that I was taking. That's literally all it would let me do until like we were 5 minutes away from the property the very next day. It just all of a sudden started working like it was fine. It shut down all of our cameras one by one by one. It shut down every single one of the cameras. And if you look at the timestamp, it's like within a minute of each other. There was only one camera it didn't shut down while we were doing our lives. We had disembodied voices. They have a psychomantium there. Do you know what that is?
I do not.
Oh, okay. So a psychomantium is it's this little room, right? And in the room, you'll have like a mirror in front of you and a mirror behind you. And there's usually like a red light and it'll be kind of like either above you or below you, but shining up, but not directly in the mirrors. And you look in one mirror and you kind of soften your gaze. Yeah, it's like you get the craziest stuff. They have a psychomantium there. So we walked in the psychomantium and when we came out, every single piece of equipment in that hall started going off and would not stop going off. We would turn it off and turn it back on. We would take the batteries out and put it back in. And I've noticed similar activity happening with other people that go there. And that was upstairs, like where the family normally lives. But downstairs in the cells, we didn't know this at the time that we got all the SLS footage, but afterwards we found out. So we had all this SLS footage and we couldn't figure out what this guy was doing on the SLS footage. And he was there forever and ever and ever. And he was doing this crazy stuff. And then it looked like he was climbing up the wall. And then it just looked like he got long and skinny. And then he just stayed there and it was like swinging. And then it just dropped like it went through the floor. We found out later that a convicted rapist hung himself there. He literally, in that spot, there was a ladder that was there on the wall before, and he climbed up the ladder and hung himself from the top of the ladder. And I think pretty sure that's what we were getting on the SLS footage.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Alone the whole time we were there. And I kept saying the whole time we were there, there's someone else here and I didn't know that this guy existed. I'm like, there's this guy at the end of the hall and he's keeping somebody else here. I know he is. And we got this disembodied voice of a woman saying, nobody loves me, nobody loves me. And later on, we're walking up the stairs and she says, get him, get him, get him. Well, I think she's who is trapped there by him, and he's a convicted rapist. So I'm pretty sure
Wow.
he's keeping her there. You know what I mean? That place is so active. If anybody gets a chance to go there, I mean, it's this little tiny jail in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. But if you got a chance to go there, that place is crazy haunted.
Wow. That's awesome. Wow. That's awesome. All the stuff you've done sounds amazing. The fact that you build equipment is awesome. And I definitely agree with the whole para-unity concept. I love that you go out and investigate with other people. That's kind of the whole point of me doing the Tuesday lives and interviewing different people and trying to set this up where I get to continually meet new people. And it's been a really cool experience. I mean, this is how I met Stories in the Cemetery. It's how I met a lot of the people that I do a lot of these live events with. You should be a guest one night. You were a guest already one night. I actually bought one of Nick's workbooks.
Awesome.
Yeah, he does the paranormal investigation workbook. And I saw him on video, and I was like, I need to see this. And so I bought one, and I asked him to come on.
I saw he's doing the almanac thing, too.
Yeah.
I saw he's
and the almanac is going to be a lot of data all in one place. And like I said, I'm one of the people that gets to write an article for the almanac.
That's really cool.
It's going to be a lot of like new theories, some basically statistics and data that Nick has collected over the time that he does investigations, and put everything together into one place. He's got quite a few other really cool writers on there. There's a psychic that's going to be doing an article, and it's really, really interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it all kind of comes together when he's done with it. Nick does a hell of a lot of work in the whole process of it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too, actually.
Yeah, so anybody that's interested in that, it's givebutter.com, I believe. Nick has the link in his profile, so if you guys want to go over and click on his profile, you'll find the Give Butter link, and that's for pre-orders. So anybody taking a pre-order, you can donate $1 up to $50. And I think we already had a $50 donation, so we're just definitely trying to keep driving that, and it'll be out next year. But
I'll try to keep reposting that stuff.
We appreciate that. Yeah, but back to you just shortly. Anything you would like to kind of like bring up, or anything you would like to kind of plug away? Is anything you guys are doing that you want people to kind of take notice of?
I mean, oh gosh, my brain's kind of mush right now. I can't really, I mean, just, we love, working with other people. We love seeing what other people do, what equipment they use, what techniques they use, because you can always learn from other people or integrate what they're doing into what you're doing. And the same goes for them. And, I love networking and things like that. And they might know locations that you don't know. So if anybody is out there and thank you. I love you guys. If anybody is out there and they want to, investigate with us, we 100%, reach out. I've got my phone number and my email address is on my website. You can always reach me through any of the social medias. We're 100% up for it. I mean, I don't know that we'll be going to California anytime soon. I would love to. So I don't know if we'll go that far, but if you're like Missouri or closer, we would love to. I mean, really, I'd love to get out. Man, Skinwalker, do you ever watch Skinwalker Ranch?
I have
Okay.
watched that.
Man, I would love to get to Utah to see some stuff, but you know,
I
until we buy an RV,
I think
it's
we
not
would all love to
happening
get over
'cause
there.
I can't afford to ship my equipment anywhere. If we fly, that's literally our main reason for not going any further than Missouri, because like we can't afford to send our equipment on a plane.
I've done it once, and I
It
packed
would
it all
literally
into a
cost more than
backpack.
it would for both of us, unless we just
Yeah,
went bare bones.
I packed everything I have into a backpack, and then I packed all the batteries for it into a small plastic bag because that's what the U.S. requires of
Right.
us.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually went out to Japan.
Oh.
Not this year, but the year prior.
That's the one thing that I cannot get my husband to go overseas, and it just irritates the hell out of me because, like, I want to go to Ireland, I want to go to Scotland, I want to go to Japan, like, I want to go everywhere. I'm really into the history of things. I was actually a history major in college, so like, I'm super into history stuff, right? And he loves history too, but I'm like, you can't get the kind of history in the U.S. that you can, you know, overseas. I'm like, come on, man. But whatever. It's whatever.
You'll get them there eventually.
Yeah. We have an overseas viewer here tonight.
Yes, I believe that's our. This is Dark Side Paranormal, Miss Vicky there.
Whoop, whoop.
I believe England.
I would love to go to England too. I have so many people that I follow on all the socials that are in England. I love some of the places over there. I would just completely love to go to.
Yeah. I actually got a hold of, I interviewed FX Paranormal. They're out in England as well. She also makes her own equipment.
Oh.
So there's a lot of groups out there that are, they make a lot of their own equipment.
Well,
and
seriously,
it's really,
if
really
you
cool to
look
see.
if you look at how much it costs to make it versus how much the profit margin is insane. Like, you're like, really? This is how much it costs to make it? It's worth it to figure out how to make something. Now, I'm not saying that I have no, like, my background before I moved to Georgia was I was a welder for Honda. Like, I don't have a technical background. My whole life is like, I went to college as a double major to be a teacher. I was a history and literature, and I ended up being a welder at Honda. So like, I have no technical background. I don't have a scientific background, anything like that. So really, it's like Google and YouTube and reverse engineering stuff to figure stuff out. But it's worth it because, you know, $15 versus $200. You know what I'm saying?
True. Wow. Well, do you guys have things up for sale? Do you sell equipment? Do you have t-shirts out? Like, is there stuff people can get from you?
No, not yet, because I have not actually started an LLC, so I'm not. I have an LLC. I actually own my own business, but not for the paranormal, so it's not something. I'm a baker by trade. So,
Okay.
you know, nothing I went to school for again, but I am a baker by trade. I was a welder before that. So it's weird, kind of like, you know, most of my life is actually paranormal, but yeah, so I can't, under my baking license, make and sell paranormal equipment. But if I get enough interest in it from other people, for sure, it's something that I'm definitely looking into, especially since we travel a lot. Writing off those business expenses, oh my gosh. I can't even tell you how much we drop. Oh my gosh.
No,
We go places like at least twice a month to different states, at least twice a month. So it gets up there.
Oh, I hear you. Well, you don't need an LLC to write all that off as long as your business is technically losing more than it's making.
Well, I'm saying I haven't registered as a business at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I haven't either,
Oh.
but I'm still able to write it off.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I got to learn the ins and outs.
Yes, I have a very good tax person that taught me these things.
Okay, well, if there's anybody that's a tax person or knows more than I do about this, please, for the love of God, hit me up. Tell me how I can make money off of my shit right now.
Yeah, well, we're definitely talk more in the future, and I would be happy to give you whatever tips and tricks I have. Nick has started his own LLC. He has built from the ground up, and like I said, he does this full time. So he's also someone that's great to kind of ask questions of, and for everybody that's on, take a look over at our haunted life.
This haunted life.
This haunted life, and get in there and start following them, subscribe, like them. Let's get her up to that point. I mean, it's something we're all shooting for, and the faster we all kind of get there, the better.
An LLC is a limited liability company. It's a way of registering a business in the United States. Or Dark Side Paranormal.
Yeah, so it's definitely something cool to get after and be able to do. So I mean, we're all looking to get into that full time, doing something we enjoy. And I've always said that I think the goal for me is start my own TV show where I travel around and investigate with a different group on every episode.
That would be so cool.
I honestly have always thought that would be the absolute best thing to do. It would get away from the please do something. Yeah, it gets away from the whole like do something fun and be entertaining, and it gives new personalities on every episode, and then you're less likely to have people that are fraudulent and doing things to make something happen. And
I have to say my biggest pet peeve is when people A, fake evidence, and B, over dramatize something. That is something you will never ever see me do. I would rather debunk something than fake something or over dramatize. 100%.
Exactly. I've actually lost out on things because of that. I had a talk show that reached out at one point when I was still running the group that they asked us to come on. It was brand new talk show. They were just starting up. And they said, oh, well, we bought this haunted doll. I said, okay. And they're like, and the set was a house. I'm like, was it haunted? Well, no, but we bought a haunted doll. I'm like, that's great. I'm like, I can, bring equipment. We can investigate, but I can't guarantee you anything will happen.
Right.
And they said, well, can't you just make it go off? And I said, no, I can't. I'm like, and there's people you can reach out to for that kind of shit. Yep. But it's not me.
Exactly. Right. It's so hard to watch any of the shows anymore. Well, I mean, I guess any of the good shows aren't even on anymore. You have one show that kind of rules them all, and it's like the one show I hate. Because somebody gets possessed every single episode.
I gotta start those videos. I'm working on some spoof videos for that.
Oh my god, I love
it. So I gotta get those going because I got a lot of ideas on it, and I just have to get going on it. It's to the point now where if you want to watch any good paranormal stuff, you have to just go to YouTube. There's nowhere. That's the only place. Yeah, and unfortunately, it's not the ones that are the popular high view.
Oh no, exactly. I mean, I would love to. I need to start getting more of my stuff on YouTube. I only have 25 videos on there, so I only have maybe 500 subscribers right now. But I've only been on there since May, and probably only put one video on there, and it was another month before I put any more videos on there, and then it wasn't until last month where I put a whole bunch. So I have gotten a lot of subscribers quickly, but it's not like the other. It's a lot harder to get subscribers on YouTube than I would love to be able to do more on there for sure. So I'm looking to start, doing some better editing and putting some better videos, hopefully get more followers or subscribers on there. So if you haven't checked out my YouTube, This Haunted Life, go subscribe, pretty please. I will love you forever.
All right. Well, with that, I think we're gonna kind of wrap it up for the night. My throat, I think, is at its limitation.
Yeah, it's not sounding super good right now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you.
I would have loved to talk about cryptids with you, but I don't know that much about them.
Well, it's funny because I reached out to a lot of people. Only so many of them actually even reached back. But I seem to find some of the best people that way. You know, the ones that aren't full of themselves are the ones that reach back and get in here and do stuff. And
I try to get back to anybody that reaches out to me, honestly, whether I know the questions to their, if I don't know the questions to their answers, I at least try to give them a place to go to. Yours, unfortunately, I didn't have a place to send you to for cryptids, but
well, it all worked out. So, I mean, we were able to do this, and this was a really, really awesome interview.
Yeah, I really
loved talking to you.
On.
No, of course. Thank you. So it's been really, really nice talking to you and getting to know more about, you know, what you guys do with the paranormal and your version of all of it. So thank you again. And thank you for everybody that joined.
Yeah, thank you,
Please go check them out. So,
and you get better, sir.
Thank you. So I'll talk to all of you very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.